Hello everyone and welcome to our notes on Intro to Trig. Today we're just going to be getting used to setting up some ratios, not necessarily simplifying them yet, and then setting up some proportions, not necessarily solving them yet to solve for a side length. Today we're just going to focus on getting used to the idea of trig. And so the first thing I want you to write at the top of your paper is what we were introduced to the other day, which is sine, cosine, and tangent. So SOHCAHTOA is the sine of whatever the angle is. You fill in the angle right there. The sine of the angle is going to be equal to that angle's opposite over that angle's hypotenuse. So that's that sine button on your calculator. Okay? Then we have cosine. So the cosine of the angle, whatever the angle is going to be equal to that angle's adjacent, A, over that angle's hypotenuse, H. Okay? And then last but not least, we have the tangent button. Tangent of the angle is going to be equal to that angle's opposite over that angle's adjacent. So I know that this is something that we've been practicing. In right triangles, from a certain angle, we've been labeling the opposite, the adjacent, and the hypotenuse. So the first thing I want us to see is just setting up some ratios. We're not going to simplify them yet. That will be in a later lesson. But just to get used to this and going from different angles, we want to find the sine of A. So from A, let's mark A. Where is angle A? Angle A is right here. We know that the sine is going to be equal to the opposite over the hypotenuse. So we have three numbers. We have the 9, we have the 41, and we have the 40. We want to set up the opposite over the hypotenuse. So just like before, let's go from angle A. What is the opposite? From angle A, the opposite is 9. So I'm going to fill that in. That's going to be 9 over the hypotenuse. My hypotenuse is going to be 41. So for now, we're just going to leave it like that. The sine of A is going to be equal to 9 over 41. That is fully simplified. We'll talk about simplifying a little bit even more later. So what is the sine from Z? Sine from Z is going to be equal to opposite over hypotenuse. So let's go to the angle. Here's angle Z. So we have three pieces again. We have the 15, we have the 25, and we have the 20. So what is opposite the angle Z? From Z, we have our opposite is 15. So that's going to be 15 over our hypotenuse. Our hypotenuse is going to be 25. Now 15 over 25, if we reduced it, would be 3/5. But for now, I'm just going to have y'all label. We're just getting used to setting up this ratio because your calculator will do this for you later. Okay, so what is cosine? Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, and you can keep referencing this at the top if you need to. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So from angle A, what is adjacent? Well, this piece is opposite. So what is adjacent? Adjacent is going to be 28. It's the shorter of the two that are touching it. What is our hypotenuse? Our hypotenuse is going to be 35. So for now, we're going to leave that as 28 over 35. We'll worry about actually working with that later. So I didn't need my opposite there, so I left the 21 out. Okay. What is tangent from Z? Tangent is always opposite over adjacent. So from angle Z, what is my opposite? My opposite is going to be 27. So that's going to be 27 over my adjacent. My adjacent is going to be 36. It's the shorter one between the 36 and the 45. So opposite over adjacent is going to be 27 over 36. Again, we'll worry about simplifying those later. For now, I'm just getting all used to setting up your ratios. We will reduce them later. Now the directions on the next set say to find the missing side. For now, we're just going to set up each piece, okay? And we'll start solving after spring break. So from this 68-degree angle, because that's what's there, just like what we did before, would this be sine, cosine, or tangent? Well, from 68, I have an opposite listed. The 15 is the hypotenuse. That's the longest side. It lies opposite the right angle. And so what goes with opposite and hypotenuse, O and H? Of these three at the top, the one that goes with opposite and hypotenuse is sine. So let's just set it up and we'll worry about solving later. The sine of 68 degrees, the degree, sine button, 68 degrees, is going to be equal to its opposite, which is x, over its hypotenuse, which is 15. Okay, so for now, that's where we're going to stop. We will solve for x later. Okay, so what about from the 37-degree angle? What pieces of information do I have from the 37-degree angle? Well, from 37, the x is opposite. The 16 is going to be adjacent. Y'all got really, really good at this last week, labeling opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse. So what piece goes with opposite and adjacent? Let's look. What goes with O and A? That's going to be tangent. And so I'm going to fill that in. I'm going to say the tangent of the angle. What's my angle? My angle is 37 degrees. From 37 degrees, my opposite is x. My adjacent is 16. And that is where I'm going to stop for now. So we're just practicing this. All right, what about number 7 from the 49-degree angle? I do not have my opposite, it's blank, but I do have my adjacent is x, my hypotenuse is 19. So what goes with adjacent and hypotenuse? That's going to be cosine, A and H. And so I'm going to fill that in. I'm going to say the cosine of the angle. What's my angle? My angle is 48 degrees. The cosine of 48 is going to be equal to adjacent x over hypotenuse 19. And that's where I'm going to stop for now. Okay? All right, what about number 8? Number 8, I'm going from the 24-degree angle. So from the 24-degree angle, I have my x is my opposite. My 10 is my hypotenuse. It falls across from the right angle. What goes with opposite and hypotenuse? That's going to be the sine. So Sin of 24 degrees is equal to the opposite x over the hypotenuse 10. So that's where we're going to stop for now on that problem. We'll come back after spring break and talk about how to actually solve for the side length. Let's do 2 more together, and then I'll leave the last 4 for you to practice. From the 21-degree angle, the 20 is my opposite. The x is my hypotenuse. So again, that's going to be the sine of 21 degrees is equal to 21's opposite, which is 20, over 21's hypotenuse, which is x. Okay. Number 10, last one, from the 32-degree angle, the 17 is opposite. The x is the adjacent. So which one goes with opposite and adjacent? That's going to be the tangent button. Tangent of 32 degrees is going to be equal to the 32's opposite, which is 17, over the 32's adjacent, which is x. And so I want you to set those last few problems up just like what we just did. Figure out if it's sine, cosine, or tangent based on what's in the picture. And you can use this little reference part at the top to see which one it is. You're just going to practice setting it up, and then we will work on solving after spring break. I hope you're having a fabulous day.